Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Tic Tac build. Now before I start, I noticed I think a few people are still asking what kind of printer it is. So basically, if you're familiar with the Rat-Rig 3D printers, this is basically a miniaturized V-Minion, right? So if you know the V-Minion, which is, I think it's a 180 millimeter bed, I want to say around that, yeah, 180 millimeter bed plate. This is basically the same thing, but just much smaller build plate, which is about 100 and, let's say, what's the bed size? Build size, I want to say 120 millimeter. So it's very tiny, like the Voron V0. Use a very tiny bed here. So basically, that's what it is, just a miniaturized V-Minion. And I'm just going to use it on my desk to print little things, you know, little small items that I wouldn't want to heat up my bigger printers for. So it's going to be really convenient, but I thought it was also a cool build to show off and to, you know, give the designer some credit, which Squirrel Brain, for his awesome design here. So without no further ado, we're going to continue. So we're going to the gearbox assembly. So let me get you guys to a better view. So this will be the gearbox assembly. Now, keep in mind, I did pre-ran some stuff, so I went ahead and put in the heated inserts. Went ahead and put in the square nuts. You're gonna need square nuts here. You're gonna need 2 inside of here. You can't see it, but there's 2 like recessed inside of here. So there's a screw that grabs and sit in here, that grabs that nut. Let me see where else is. You're gonna need, I think, 1 more right here. Not a square nut right there for the feet. So I just pre-ran those. I didn't want it to waste time. Like I said, I only have an hour that I'm trying to cut down. I don't want to spend too much time. So I pre-ran some things. I also went ahead and assembled the gears for this, the drive axle assembly. So as you can see on here, that it's assembled the same way. So let me give you guys a different view so you guys can see that. So as you can see, looks the exact same way. Got the F695 bearings here, facing the opposite side of each other because it sits recessed in this groove. See that little groove right there? So it sits recessed in that groove. Got the 10 millimeter drive pulley, then some washers in between, then another set of that F695 bearings, and some more washers, and then another set. So 3 sets of it. So I have that nicely set and assembled, ready to go here. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this cracking. So let's start on this. So the next thing we're gonna be doing is mounting this system on the plate. Now, I must admit that I actually recorded this video before, but I made a lot of mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't want to show that on camera. So I'm just being transparent now. I did make a lot of mistakes, but I'm gonna correct you. So I'm gonna correct you guys just to prevent this. So this is best assembled on the printer and not off the printer. If you assemble this whole drive system on the printer, then you won't be able to get 2 bolts that is supposed to bolt up on the printer, because I did that, and then when I realized these 2 the bolts for this is missing to hold it against the printer, I had to pull off everything else. So to prevent that, it's best to assemble this while it's on the printer. Okay, so we're gonna do that as a demonstration and get that going. So we need to start putting a couple things together. So I'm gonna go ahead and run these M16 screws here. Let me hit my light on so you guys can probably see a little bit better with the light. There we go. So I can use this to grab. There we go. Just doing that. I want to make sure I'm putting the screws where they go. So if I'm looking at the assembly this way, okay. So the smallest bolt don't go there. So that's look like it's an M10 that actually goes there. So they go here actually. Right. What is 13? Let me see. This 12 and 13. What is 12 and 13 here? 12 and 13. 3 M325 and 1 M512. So M325 goes in here apparently. Just 3 M325s. I want to make sure I have them right and separate them out a little bit. These are M320, M325s, M316. Okay. Just making sure I had them right. So M325 and M312s. And so this is 13, what is 13? M512, I mean, actually. So an M512 millimeter actually goes in there. So if I can find any here. I don't know if I have any M512 that's not shaped hardly. I might have to use one of these. Might have to use one of these, even though you're supposed to use a flathead or button head. See if I can get away with using one of these. All right. Then the 12s are the M325s. I'm just gonna measure to make sure I have the right size, guys. So I have a quick measurement here. M320, M325. All right. So go ahead and put that there. That's pretty long though. Okay, so that's for that top piece, okay. And then what about the other size? So 25s on these sides too. So, but that's going to be super long. I don't think that's necessary there, unless it's designed that way. It might be actually designed that way. So. There we go. Okay, so designed that way. Okay. So M325's in there. There's like a stop that prevented from going any further, which is nice. Okay. Alright. Alright, that looks good. We're going to go ahead and also mount this side piece here. So that way we can get it mounted up on the side here of this. So what's that going to require? 19 and 20, which is, I know it's one is M5. Yeah, so these 20s here go here. And then the 80 millimeter go here. So this is M520 here at the top. Don't need to over tighten it, it's plastic, so we gotta be careful. And then these M5 80 millimeters. Sometimes you can find these off Amazon in a kit, sometimes not. So I got these specifically off Mastercard. That's why I bought these. So there we go. Grab. There we go. And then they grab the square nuts that I had in. Okay. All right. So looking for a little piece of there's a mount specifically I'm looking for. Hopefully I can find it. Uh-oh. Where are you? There we go. So this now goes, it sits right here in this corner. So, and it mounts through this. So we're gonna have to run this, like this. Oh, and I see. So that blocks the way. Okay, so we can't even put this in yet. So again, still learning. So we have to remove this in order to have access to those holes to screw that in. So, gotta put the M580 in last, apparently. So, very tricky setup here, but interesting nonetheless. So, screw that out. Go. So basically we have to screw these in first before we can actually put them in. So that's fine. Okay, so alright, so we're gonna go ahead and mount this real quick. You know what? Actually, it's best to just kind of mount it on it and slide it in there. Just make my life easier. So what does this take? What screw does this take? It's not there. This right here. So those two look like M16 is what they take. M516s. Maybe scroll down and I can see it a little clearer. I'm pretty sure that's what it takes, because I'm not seeing it. I only see it for a slight second in the picture. It's right here. So these right here. So they're 23. 23 is yeah, 16. I was right. So kind of second guess myself there. Let you guys see what I'm doing. So slide it in. It's almost like it's not wanting to screw in there. What's going on? There we go. Alright, so that's screwed in right here, as you can see. So now when we put this in, it should catch in there. So the first thing we're going to do is line up these. See if I can get them all lined up. This goes here, this goes here. What are these two for? I'm not sure what these two are for yet. Because it did say to put those there. Let me go back at the top, because it did say to put two of these right here. So I'm not sure what those are for yet. So I'm assuming one is for the top, one is for the bottom. We're gonna see. All right, you catch that part. Now it's time to see if I can get this lined up. You know what? Let me take this off and line it up first before I screw this in. I'm just lining up the nut, the T-nut that's underneath here, so that way when I put it in, can actually catch it. There we go. And then we go ahead and grab back this. There we go. And I caught it, but I don't want to over tighten it, so I'm gonna leave it right there. There's no need to go overboard. And that's it. So that's on there. We're gonna go ahead and mount up the sides here too as well. So we'll go ahead and add the side nuts and everything going on there. So let's work on that. These two right here. So let's work on these two real quick. Guessing those, what do those take? M16 as well. Let me see. We have 19s and then we have 20s. What are 19s? Yep, M516 as well. So go. One more. Trying to make sure it lines up. Alright, there we go. As you can see. So like I said, the first video I tried to make, the first video of part 2, I didn't mount it like this. Like I had everything assembled before I tried to mount it and it didn't work. So again, it's best to start assembling it on it. Okay? Alright, so this feels real solid here. So let me see what next to go. We got 2 more to mount on the inside here. So, trying to figure out the best way to do that. Let me see. I'm gonna see. I wonder if it had been best if I'd pull this out first. Thinking maybe I should have waited to put these in, because now it's kind of hard for them to come out. So I'm gonna have to play a guessing game here. So bear with me, guys. Instead of having you guys and wasting time, I'm gonna pause it, get those in real quick, and then come right back. All right, I'm back, guys. So now all the screws are mounted. Everything is mounted here. I was able to. So it's best not to put the screw in the hole first. It's best to just line up the T-nuts with the hole, then put the screw in, and that seemed to work out much better. So now we can finally put the 80mm screw, M5 screw back in place here. Going easy there, yep. Alright. Same thing at the bottom. like it's going. So my hands are getting worn out pretty quick. Let's see if I can find my what's next to me right now. I have to find my my little hand drill. But yeah, this is wearing out my hands. So I'm gonna try to beat this quick. Yeah, that should be good enough. Back it out just a little. So I don't, like I said, we don't need to go overboard. All right. So it looks like this. You guys get a view what it looked like. So next step is next is to cover the motor. So we're gonna put the gearbox in and cover it up. Yep, that's the next step. So we're gonna go ahead and drop our gearbox in place here. You gotta keep the belt on there, so you gotta make sure the belt's on there. And then now we can finally put a gearbox in place here. Ooh, uh-oh. Make sure nothing falls. Oops. Alright, so now go ahead, kind of cover up our gearbox here. Alright, it's time to screw this back down. It goes like this. And now these use, I think 30 millimeters, no, I think 3 millimeters by 60. I want to say, yep, 3 millimeter by 60 screws. And you're going to need 6 of these to get it to, and I'm not going to screw this down. I'm actually going to use my drill to get it at least halfway. So let me see if I can grab my drills, guys, and I'll be back. Because I'm not going to sit here and screw this all in. Be right back. Alright, we're back, guys. Let me change my view here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright. This one. I'm not going to go all the way because I want to hand tighten it. So I don't really want to go all the way. I'm just going to bring it down as far as I can. Just about right there. The opposite side here. Bring it down. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to do right here. You guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna do here, and I know some of you guys might say, why don't you use one of the smaller hand cordless screwdriver? But honestly, I prefer the torquey one. I don't like the small one. Plus, they're super expensive. I prefer this. This is full of torque. It has a lot of battery power, a lot of torque, a lot of settings, a lot of torque settings around it. I prefer this, but you know, the small ones are cool, but I rather something more heavy duty where I can actually have a lot more torque at my disposal to use. So if you guys were wondering why I'm using the big one, that's why. I like the torque. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the center one in. Now I can't go all the way down because this is in the way. So I try to do my best to get as close as possible and then use my hand to tighten that section. Where did it go? Must have fell out. That's not it. Where did it go? Oh, I left it off in here, of course. I left it off in here. Let's try to get as close as possible there. Do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll use my hand and kind of tighten it down the way I want to. Alright, that should be good enough. Now you don't want this too tight now because it can affect the gear motion. Right now it's free, so I'm just going to tighten it down just enough. Not too crazy with it. That's good. Oh, let's tighten this down a little evenly here. Come back up a little bit. Might have to gonna have to take down the middle. Trying to keep it even. I don't want it too tight. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Nope, that sounds like it's cross-threading there. Let me put some oil on this, some grease on this one, because I don't like the way that sounds. I'm gonna screw down the rest, not super tight, but just to close a little bit. Yep. It sounds really bad though, guys. Like it's almost like it's threading. I hope it's not. Not gonna over tighten it. Good enough. Yeah, it's a little too tight there. Yep, still moving freely. Don't want to go crazy with it. Said I'm not going too tight, just enough. I don't want it. I want it to be able to spin. Okay, that made it a little tight. Let me back out a little bit. Right there. Yeah, it's still moving now. Alright, let's see what's going on with this side. Back off a little bit on here too. Got a little stiff. Okay. I'm just gonna take this one out and grease it a little bit because it's squeaking. I really don't like that squeaking sound. So, and it could just be little particles of plastic that just got into the. So I'm just gonna go ahead, dab a little grease there. That feels better. Alright. Not squeaking this time. There we go. Not squeaky, but I'm not going to tighten it down like I said, guys. I don't think we need to go overboard and tighten it. We still do want the wheel to turn. That's not too bad. So let me come off a little bit. Come up a little bit here, a little bit there. There we go. That feels really, really good. Yep, that feels really, really good right there. Alright, awesome. So now it's mounted, turns pretty freely as you can see. I don't have to fight with it. It's actually turning really nicely. So there we go. We don't need to over tighten it. Alright, so the next thing we need to do, now that we have this mounted on here, is to mount our motor and or feet. So let's go ahead and put the other feet in. which goes right here. So that feet goes right in that hole. And there's a square nut mounted on the inside. You can't see it because everything is mounted on the top. But there's a square nut in here that the feet gets hooked into. And then there is a M3 by 4 millimeter flat on like one of those recess screws that sits in a recess. And then there is a 8 millimeter grub screw that when you mount the motor like this, it pushes to create tension on the motor. You screw the grub screw down, it pushes on that little screw, that screw right there, and push the motor outwards like this way to create some tension on the belt. Okay, so very clever design there. So we're gonna go ahead and mount the motor. So what's the best way to go about this now? Just put it like that. So we might have to actually put, which way does it go? Trying to see which way the pulley goes. Okay, it seems like it goes. Okay, so this way. So it goes like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pull it through real quick, so you guys can see. And then I can push the motor in. There we go. Oh. Let it wind up just a little bit. Just a little. Just kind of lining up the pulley with the gear. Okay, I kind of want the flat part of the gear, of the shaft of the motor matches up with the grub screw. So when I put it in, I can actually, there we go. I can tighten it down. So about there looks good. There we go. Got it. All right. So now we can bolt this up. And this takes, I think, 12 millimeter M3s. You see me looking at the side, guys. I'm just making sure that I'm in view, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So I got one bolt in. Trying to get the other side here. It's a very awkward angle. So let me see if I can actually get it in there. This one might be a problem here. I might have to see if I can get a Allen wrench for this one. think I got it. I think the tension on the belt is plenty, so I don't think I need to mess with the with this at all. I might adjust it after because it's not quite lined up, so I might just do an adjustment after. But we have the motor in and the pulley in, which is more important right now. Trying not to over tighten it here, but trying to see if I can get a last turn on it. Not go overboard. There we go. Alright, so we got 2 more screws to route in, so as you can see, that's what it looks like. And there's good enough tension on it already. It's good enough tension on it. So, as you guys can see, top view. Now, if you're wondering, again, why these are not falling off, is because they're kind of lightly preloaded. So they don't slide as easy, but once you touch them and put load on them, they slide pretty easy. So no big deal there. So now I'm going to put on the foot and then screw down the extra 2 mounts on here after I adjust the pulley. So I'm going to go ahead and put the feet on. Still turning, but it's on there. Might have to use a slightly more. Let me try this M60 and see if that will that fit. Yeah, that's gonna work. It's not grabbing like I want it to. So this might work. Yeah, that looks like it might be able to get up in there. Yep, that worked. Perfect. Alright. So there we go. Feels pretty solid already, not gonna lie, guys. So I think we should have mounted this here instead of the side. I think I want to say the plug should face down, but I have no problem routing the plug nice and neat anyways. So I don't think, and it shouldn't be hard to actually unscrew it and turn it. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, so it should have been down, which is no big deal. Should have been down. We can always fix that. Alright. Let's see what's next. I did say I want to adjust the pulley, so let me adjust that. see where the pulley is. I want to say the pulley should be down a bit more, personally. That's better. Yep, much better. Right in line. It's not rubbing on anything, so that's perfect. Alright, and it's spinning. So, alright. This is looking good. Looking really good. So the only thing I would have to do is unscrew these two, just turn the motor down literally and screw back in. So no big deal. Let's see what else we have to do. Because like I said, I want this to be less than an hour. Alright. So we did the drive assembly. Okay, so now we need to do the top. Okay. So after we do that, I think that should be enough time to wrap this part 2 up. So I'm gonna need this. I'm going to need I did already pre-ran the square nut. That square nut you see right here in this image. So you can see where my mouse is pointing. Let me give you guys a better view. So I already ran this square nut in there, so it's already there. Just gonna see what I need. So square nut, M565, so we're gonna need a big M5 here. So M565, do I have a size like that? What else I might need? 2 M525. I want to say these are M525, but I'll measure them to be sure. So nope, these are M530s and M525s. Alright, got M525, 2 of them right here. And 2 M512s. No, these are 12s. And so 2 M525, 2 M512, 1 M535. Let's see, this may be a 35. Yep, perfect. M535 there. Let me see what this is. Yeah, we're going to use this instead. Alright, so we got that. We put these one back. And then we need pretty sure I have M512 somewhere around here. I don't think these ones are going to work because these require the flat heads. But they might. They actually might. So I'm going to leave those alone. Alright. So I think we have everything here. We have the idlers. And yeah. So I think we're good. So the first thing we're going to do, 535 and washers, so we're going to get 2 washers. I don't have on nylock nuts at the moment, but I can always replace that. So I'm not going to sit here and screw it in with my hands, so I'm going to use my tools. You guys change the view so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yes, tight fit. Okay, I might have to back this out just a little bit. Very tight fit. Ooh, 2 washers. I don't know. I might be able to slide the other one in there. Might be able to. Okay, let me back this out because it's sounding like this is going to use some very thin washers. Go. Try to see if I can push this down. It's spinning, but I don't know if I can get the other washer in there. Actually, I might be able to. Oh, I see. Okay, this is going to be a challenging one. Okay, let me pop this out real quick. It's going to be tough to put in, but we're going to try. No, guys, it might not actually fit with 2 washers unless my washers are just that thick, which I think might be a problem. So you know what, we won't put washers in there. I think it's wide enough because this is 10 millimeters and I think it requires 9 millimeters, so I think it's wide enough where it doesn't need washer personally. because it sits right in there. So I even think one washer can actually close the gap a little bit, which I might just do that. Just work with one washer. Or, you know what? Not gonna do that because just in case it can center itself. So I'm gonna avoid that. All I was doing is damaging the innards here, so I don't want to do that. So I think we'll be okay without the washers. Because if I remember, the Voron idlers on the 2.4 for the Z doesn't require washers on the side. So I think we should be okay. Put a nut in here. Can't seem to grab the nut. There we go. Alright, I might not need the locking nut, so there we go. It can move freely, but it has a lot of room to self-align once I mount it. So, right. So, next thing to do is we're going to need to slide this in. So we're going to put our M12s here. Sorry, not M12, M5 12 millimeter. Sorry. So M5 12 millimeter. I think the only thing I'm mixing now is that M5 65. So let me see if I can grab that, but let me go ahead and mount this. So this goes right here. Just lining up the nut so it slides in easy. There we go. Might have to kind of tap this down a little bit. So let me top this down, guys, and then I'll be right back because I'm going to be making a bunch of noise. Alright guys, so we're back, and what you haven't seen in the background is a lot happened. So when I was trying to put this on, I actually tapped it a little too hard and it split. So I showed Squirrel Brain a picture, and he kind of did a little bit of tweaking, and I printed on the side in the direction which it was stronger, and that works. So now it's all mounted. So that's what happened in the background. It split. I had to reprint it. So from the last clip, it's been a few days. It's been like 2 days in between. So, but this is the completion right now. The other thing that I did in the background that I had to change was going from a 22 pulley right here, so from the 22 pulley to 16, just like the Voron. So this gearbox is basically set up like a Voron anyways. So that way to help when the gantry, when the motor loses power or power turn off to the motor, the cantilever X-axis don't sag with the motor on top of it. So that's really, really nice. But so far, this thing has been solid, guys, like super solid. The only other thing I modified real quick before I go and start working on part 3 is here. This is the tensioner for this to pull the motor out. So there's a grub screw right here, 8mm grub screw, and it pushes on a M3 recess screw, 4mm recess screw to push the motor out to give the belt tension. This little belt here tension. So the only thing I did, because it's plastic, I didn't want to thread into plastic, because you know sometimes it can strip out. So went ahead and put on the inner side, I went ahead and added a heat insert. So when I thread the grub screw in it, it doesn't over thread and cause it to lose grip over time. So that's what I did. So I would suggest to Squirrel Brain, if you want to add an M3 screw insert to this part officially, that would be great. I think that will help with the tension on the actual motor here. But other than that, guys, that's part 2. Hope you guys enjoy the videos. Again, if you really like what you see here, subscribe. I appreciate the support. So yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.